Welcome to the webinar on Introduction to 3D Design, Game Design and Development Process. We are glad to have with us Mr. Rajesh M. Dharan as a resource person who is working as a senior game generalist at Fingent Global Solutions, Kochi. Mr. Rajesh is a technical evangelist, game designer, communication design expert with over 18 years of experience. On behalf of the Center for EduTech and SkillsTech, I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Rajesh M. Dharan. Let's begin this webinar by paying obeisance to Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge and learning. Thank you, Mr. Rajesh, for joining us. We can start the program.
Welcome all. This is the very first time I'm even interacting with some team from Orissa.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so though I had a lot of friends over there, but not many interactions with them. So I had what courses we are doing and all.
Yeah. So Seven, can you please unshare the screen?
Yes, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. So today I'll be just briefing you about how we do game design, what are the process involved, and how we go about it. So please feel free to ask any sort of doubt if you have. Stop me if you find it too fast for you to understand. So please do let me know. Okay. What I'm going to do right now is just switch off my camera because the banding for the screening of my game and not the game, the interaction as well as the screen, the camera would be a challenge for me. So I'm just switching off my camera for some time. Let's go to the screen. So let me switch it off. And let me share my screen. Okay. Take you through what the process we go through in a game design process. Now, game design doesn't mean that we only make game. So we are into an IT solution provider where we give something called XR solution, extended reality of augmented reality, virtual reality, and all this kind of combinations what we go through. So gaming is one such application where we have to make some applications for interaction for most of our clients. But generally in our process, in our company, what we do is make specific requirement for a client abroad for these solutions, for their problems. How do we actually go with the game design? So let me briefly brief what I actually did during my 18 years of my career. I started my career as an artist in Walt Disney US, where I started making movies. And then over the course of time, I started making games a lot, then into AAA games. I hope you have worked with NFS. I'm not sure about how many of you play games, Need for Speed kind of thing, where I have worked for quite some time. Yeah, those kind of things. The last work which I did was for the Far Cry. So right now into the IT solutions part where we actually do more of coding as well as this kind of interactive cycles which we go through. So let me take you through what the process is. So when we talk about a gaming, we have to have a concept with us. Now, why do we require it? Why do we need to learn it? Before I start this, I just want to show you the global market, what is forecasted. If you see right from 1975 to 2022, you can see the growth of it. From 2020 to 2022, you can see it's like a linear graph which is going up. Now, as the technology started increasing, you can see the leap from 2012 and 2072. Now, it is going up and it is supposed to take into a different level as it goes on. Right time to invest or learn this kind of applications. Why am I telling you this one? Because, we require annually, we recruit almost 30 people every year for our department. For the past 2 years, we are doing it. So that itself tells us how much of the growth we are expecting. Even for the next year, we have already anticipated, we have started recruiting right now because we don't want to have any sort of shortfall in that. So basically, this is the kind of scenario what we find. This is the kind of industry. So it is still going on. It's a growth process. For another 10, 15 years, we can see it is going to be the same thing. So that. Now, what is the requirement? What if you are a game designer? What is actually necessary? Do we require a good academic skill? Do we require an artistic thought? Is there anybody who want to answer something like that? Is there anybody who has something in the mind? What if you want to become a game designer? What do you think you should have? Anybody want to answer it? Okay.
So may I?
Yeah.
So to be first, you have to play games so that you will understand that what the current time needs in a game. And second
Okay.
thing, that you have a little bit, you must need a little bit of artistic knowledge and some coding knowledge.
Some coding knowledge. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I would also like to add to it design thinking.
Design thinking. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Subhanshu, I want
Yeah.
to say that there is some photography knowledge should have the game, the person who designed the game, so that accordingly he can design the game as per the gamer can move their frame and the designer who will compose the frame. So there is some photography knowledge also be there.
Photography knowledge. Okay. Now it's a combination of whatever you said. The thinking, the design thinking, what you said, the photography, it's more like, having an aesthetic sense in your mind. Simple. How clean we keep a room. What sort of color do we have? Okay, I'm not able to see my screen right now. Do you see a blue background and I'm wearing something like a orange color kind of thing? What we call is a contrast. Contrast is something when you have a cool background and a warm foreground. To make it like, what if I want something like a blue? Something different. So basically, okay, you're not able to see me right now. Okay. Basically, it's all about how to show and what you want to see. Basically, it is that. Which is I'm sure most of you, at least 80% of you would have played Candy Crush. Am I right? At least one point in your life?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So what makes it special? It's a very easy game. You don't lose anything out of it. You just need to scroll your finger, 2-3 scroll, and you find something like, reading. You are getting rewarded. At one point of time, you start pinching, some sort of, a challenge given to you. Initially, you find you are just given some sort of, easy game. It's like Geo Connection. Initially, when they launched, they gave easy internet, easily. You just need to buy, you get free internet. And then they slowly started giving it, monetizing it, and then they started charging it. Game is more like that. The art of addiction. How do you get it addicted? It's like, give it free for some time and make it attractive. And then when the person start to follow it, then make it more challenging. So the person again follows it, and it should not be too challenging for him not to get it. Those things. So when you start following something, the thing the concept become a hit. Now here, what we actually do when we have a game design concept. Okay. A car, I'm just talking about a car game. What is in a car? It need to start and it need to finish in a finish line. There's nothing much in that. It is a challenge. A person need to drive a car from a start point to an end point. This is the only thing. Now, when we do that, it is easy when we want to make a car. We have an easy environment, we can do that. But what is challenging? The challenge is, how do you take the car between the start point and the end point when you have a lot of challenges? Challenges like the terrain is a challenge, a lot of blockades is a challenge, lots of in between challenges like, other car coming blocking your way, some other terrains blocking you. Those things are challenges. In spite of all these challenges, if you are able to reach that point, you become a winner. So those challenges are to be done. So when you are doing some sort of design concept, you are also giving a starting point, ending point, and a challenge to it. The challenge is such a way that it should not be too difficult, not too easy. A person should play that and then he should feel interested. There was a game called Pokemon for the like it came and it went. It came like a storm and it just went like a storm. So the concept was anybody can do it. It is a VR game. It's an AR game, augmented reality. You just take your mobile across your city, find your the targets, score your point, challenge your friend, and it went. So it became a huge hit overnight. The shares zoomed out and then it became a huge hit. So what happens here is that there's a concept developed in the mind, and the concept you can think about any wild thing, and then you have to brainstorm it. Brainstorming is like, these are things which you start before even starting to make a game into your computer. These are things which are going as a pre-production level. You need to brainstorm with your team. Is it going to work or not? What are the challenges we are going to face? To face challenges like, are the people going to get interested in this one? Will they play this game? How long will this play? Are we able to retain this player again? Because people tend to download the game and then after playing the game, they just ignore it after some time because life becomes so fast. We don't play game every day, once in a while. Okay, they teenagers at the school time, they might be having some other priority. It depends on the age cycle also. But generally, we tend to play. After some time, we just delete those games. But what makes a person retain the game most of the time? That gives the money. That is a monetizing part of this seller. That gives them money. So those things are done here, brainstorming with the team, how the thing to be done. Once you're happy with it, the brainstorming says, yeah, these are the changes we require. This is the concept, add on to that, and then we can make something with that. And then comes prototyping. Prototyping is like, you just need to use your cardboard, things and all, the stuff which you can do in a day or two. Make those smaller thing and then make this kind of prototype. Prototype is just like small, either it can be just 3D prototyping or just like analog kind of thing. You can keep your pen, paper, chalk or whatever in your thing and then make a prototype of it, how you want to see the scenes. Then once your prototype is ready, you are happy with it, your team is happy with it, and there are cycles. Even the prototyping, at the prototyping level also, you may not be even happy with it. It goes back to the brainstorm again. There's a discussion happening. It is not really working out. And again, the brainstorm comes out with the solution. Prototyping is again done. But most of the time, it has to be fixed in prototyping. When the prototyping is done, then it goes to the development part where the game test is done, where you are testing it and iterate it. Goes back to the prototyping again in case of any sort of issue. It's more like a cyclic thing. It goes and goes and goes. It's like a cycle. Game time, play test is done, iterated. So it's like a long process. If a game development is taking 6 months, the entire process may be taking somewhere close to 2 to 3 years. It is not that easy thing. So a lot of revenue is actually spent on the pre-production level itself because it is easy to stop it at any point of time. If you're feeling it is not good, you can just stop it at any point of time. And then come out with the feasible things done, things are working, start developing production wherever. Now, what you spoke about the artistic sense, all those things in the photography sense, it's like the sense is all about how you want it to be seen in your house. It's as simple as that. As simple as that. So how you want the audio to be, how interactive you want it to be, how how pleasant it need to be. Those things. So first planning, your budgeting part, target audience. Whom do you want to target it? For example, racing kind of game is much more for the teenagers or like somewhere like 20s. As it grows up, you can have some more challenging kind of game. There are different kinds of audience level. For kids, it would be more of like, this 2D kind of thing. They would tend to use more of 2D games. The platform you want to make, platform in sense, are you making for an iOS platform? The iOS platform in sense, are you make it for an iPad or an iPhone? Is it going to be an Android deployed one? Or it can be for a PC games, Xbox, a PS4, PS5, whatever. All these things are done in the planning level itself. So once this is fixed, so most of the game are implemented in all the platforms. It can be most of the things. So it is something, but there are specific games which are sent only to Android because iOS may not support it. And there are things meant for PS5s, PS4s and all, because that require much more better graphic visualizations and all. So those things are there. And monetization is decided on how you want the thing to be. Then comes the pre-production part. This is very crucial. Pre-production in sense like every game has a story to tell from the start to finish. How you want the thing to be seen, where do you want the game to be taken, what are the challenges, how do you want it. So what we do is in the pre-production level, the artist will draw the story. See, it is always interesting if somebody tells us a story. We tend not to, there are very few readers among us, right? We do, I mean, for me personally, very few readers, especially an artist, they don't tend to read too much. But if somebody tells him a story, he would listen to it. And if it is more like a comic kind of thing, a storyboard kind of thing, it would be much more interesting for us. So we tend to look into storyboard. Storyboard fixes what we actually want. It tells the entire storyline in a pictorial depiction. And then we think about whether the technology can actually support it or not. For example, there are a lot of water in our scene. There are a lot of fire in our scene. Dynamic sense like in a swing action. There are easy to be done in movies, but in game, it is a real challenge whether your system will even support it. And these technology capabilities are even seen and then the prototyping is done. The crucial thing among everything, all the game development is about the milestone scheduling. Milestone, because most of the games, before even it release, the release date is already decided. It's like movie, when the movie, when they make a movie, they'll say this is for Diwali release, this is for Christmas release. So that and all is done predefined thing. Game is also like that because they want people to expect for it. So as soon as the game is released, people start buying it, downloading it, lot of activities done because this activity, movie release, when the movie is released, what happens? For 1 week, the theater will be busy. The box office will be like, too busy with all this activity. But the movie is done, it is over, nobody even cares about it. Nobody cares. So that 1 week of business is done through this milestone. So before that, we are telling, yeah, this movie is going to be released. You come and watch. 1 month to go, 2 months, 15 days to go. Those kind of things. So it comes, you can just decide on how curiosity you can inculcate in those people who want to buy. So milestone is one important thing. So when we do this game, we always have to stick on to the milestones. We have to fix on to a timing. Production again. Now here we start the production, the modeling. This I'm going to show you after I this complete the session. The modeling, designing, the visual effects part, the physics part. Physics is more like the dynamics part. For example, you want to have some soft cushion or fire effect. Those things are all designed in this physics part. The mechanics, developing, rendering. Then the launching part, the major bug fixation in the coding thing. And there are two aspects of it. Somebody was telling about whether you need, the coding, whether you need to work on coding assets. There are two departments of game development. One is a development department. Another one is a design department. Now here, in the top part, what you see is the full design part. This is where the actual game is designed, the assets are designed. The launching part, the bug fixation, the coding part is done by a developer. For that, usually they have these coders and all, those who are generally in our company, we have these people who have more of science oriented or BCA, MCA, BTech, and all those people working for our development team. But this department is a very general department. Anybody who can think creatively, very creatively, can be a part of it. So there is absolutely no restriction. Even if the person is a 10th standard, 12th standard, and whatever, even whatever qualification, but he has to be absolutely very creative. And this creativity can always be enhanced. It's not something people say this like, you are born creative, but it is something developing creativity. Your environment creates your creativity. Those things and all can be done. So here, again, the launching part is done, the launching, pre-master release, then comes the testing part, beta release, marketing hype. This is what I've said, releasing on this one, having a conventions, launching it using a forum like, this Comic-Con, something like that. And then comes the testing part and then post-production part. So huge department, too many people working. In our company, we have close to 400 people working only for this. So you can see the kind of environment what we have. So it's a huge potential for everybody to take up this one. Yeah. So may I know, in your college, what sort of course are you studying? Are you related to this media, or do you have this kind of stuff working on? Have you done with something called a 3D stuff and all, or are you purely into media? How is it like?
Yeah, we have a mixed group, I think. We have students from School of Media, BBA, engineering. So in engineering, we have courses on AR,
Okay.
VR.
Oh,
And
fine.
there are courses like design thinking. So we have some courses.
So do they
Still
have
speak.
something like, yeah,
Yeah.
ma'am, do they have 3D courses through? Do they have anything like
Yes,
3D?
yes, they have.
Okay, so it won't be something new which I take from the screen, right? So this is what I wanted to know. Okay.
So I would like to ask you one question, like you are talking about the storyboarding.
yeah,
So do you use any storyboarding tools to come up with a design? How do you do that?
it is more of analog paper, purely paper, because we document it. We make a book, something called game design document. And this document is purely, it's like a book, ordinary book. We bundle it, bind it, and then keep it with us, because any.
So you don't use any digital tools to create these stories?
We design using digital tool, but ultimately we print it out and then keep it.
Okay.
We have it for designing. We might be using like Illustrator, Photoshop, and all those things. We have storyboarding softwares also, like, there are a couple of things, but usually at the end of the day, when it comes to me, for a development part, we usually have this bound book, because it is easy for us, especially when we have this reference images and all, that might come as a digital part, but otherwise it's all book, because this is a book which is even given to the producer to get his approval, whether this is what you actually require. Once that book is signed by the client, that thing is fixed. Even one hair of the character is fixed. We will not change it. There's no more change to that. So it's more like a book what we actually keep. The entire thing. It will have all the asset designs, the concept, everything. It's like more like, we have close to 200 pages in that book. Because of our the non-disclosure thing, I will not be able to show you that, but then this is it. Most of the companies have it. Okay, so this is a software called Maya. I hope many of you might have seen it, not sure about. Is there anybody who's, how many of you have seen this software, by the way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see some 3 participants raising their hand. Okay, so this is 3D software for creating 3D stuff. 3D stuff like, whatever you want to do, make anything out of it. So here we do using a create option, anything, even the characters, whatever characters you make is done through these primitives, whatever we have to make. If we have to make a character, we have to make with a spear, box, whatever we have it in this one. Apart from this, you don't have anything. So we have to think very creatively to make stuff in this. Just to show you, one part of it. So let me take you through a model. Okay. So what is the challenge in making it? It looks easy, it is not. Okay, let me open up this model. So this is a usual process how a model is done. So once this design is done, we have this model, a reference image, which we keep it. And then on this, we use this create option. We have the standard primitive. So what we actually need to think about is this geometries. Okay, this geometries as a standard primitive. This we can think of it as a cube, as a cylinder. Somewhere we have even spheres also, like in a sphere in sense like the screw thing, we can just make it flat, those things. So this is how we start with the modeling. And I'll show you the end product also how it goes. So this is a usual way of making it. We have a reference here. So this is a lengthier process. This would take somewhere like 8 hours, 10 hours, depends on the complexity. Now, what is special about making a game is something where what you see on the top. This is called a head-up display, where we actually need to see about something called a try count. How many triangles are there? This is something very crucial in a game. Otherwise, when we make a movie and all, if you see Godzilla kind of character, this you can see lots of surface. It has very high detail for things and all. But in games, it is not that. It is entirely opposite to that. We have to restrict this point. There is a limit for it. Otherwise, a game will not load. It will it gets stuck at every point of time. So it will not be a smooth one. So challenge for a game artist is that restricting this triangle count in this particular models. So that is something which comes with experience as you learn the process. So it is not something natural. We have to learn it. A lot of mistakes we do and then do it. So if we have, when we work on a good team, we get all this thing. And just to show you some stuff in this one. Some basic level trees, how the concept of a tree goes with some stuff, and then branches. This is to get an idea about how the stuffs are. As I told you, the prototyping. This tree was set for it prototyping. So instead of making a tree, we just keep this one to make it look like a tree and then start working on the model as such. So this one we have, and then we have, just show you. Some shapes which are required for it. These are some assets what we use it for the prototyping. Okay. Now this is a typical character model. Now modeling is done using this process. So it is something very hectic work which requires close to 20 hours, 20-25 hours for giving high detail. And if you want, this is done using this polycount, whatever polygons you are having, the polygon sphere, and you just need to keep making it. Once this polygon is done, we need the character to walk. To make the character walk, what we need to do is we have to fix something called a bone. So Maya comes with an option for rigging with a skeleton, which is creating joints. So we use this joint for creating this kind of bone. So once this bone is created inside this character, we fix it, and then again there is a rigger is a person who fixes a bone inside a character. This is a process done by a modeler. A rigger will fix the bone, and then we bind this bone to this character. So it is already bound with this. And an animator would animate it. So you can see for how many departments would work: a modeler, a rigger, and an animator. An animator would take it and then time frame. Now you can see some sort of distortions in this one. This is because this is a default rigging done. They need to do some, the rigger will actually use an option called skinning for taking out these influences. to make this work much more smooth and things like that. So this is a typical process for making it animated. This is done by an animator. So 3 departments working closely with it. Apart from this, to give a texture to this character, texture in the sense like, giving a text, a skin tone for this. There's a texturing department where people work in softwares. I'm going to show you some part of the software, but I will not be able to show you the texturing the entire character because this is a lengthy process to be done. I'm just taking you through the workflow. A texture artist would take this character into a software called Substance Painter, which I have in here right now. I'll show you, and then paint on it. And that again is like, 1 day, one and a half days process, so close to like, 12 hours process which goes. So many departments working only for one character. So modeling, texturing, rigging, animation, texturing, these are different processes which goes with it. So to take you through a simple one, I just want to show you an asset for a game. So for making a game, it is very important that we understand the triangle count for each and everything. That is important. So let me take you through a generator. Okay. So this is the generator created using the polygons, whatever we had. It's again the entire, as you see in the earlier part, that's a primitive stage. This is the final stage, how the model is to be done. So once this is done, you can see the poly count, we have restricted it to 10,000. So if we are making a game which is for PS3 and or PS4, PS5 and all, we can have slightly more. We can have, so 1 lakh means we are giving much more detail to this character. This, for us, everything is a character. Character doesn't mean it's only humans. Everything is a character. Everything is an asset in this. So we can give much more detail. We can have some more wires in this. Wires are something which takes a lot. You can see this itself is around 290 tries. So it's a very expensive thing. It's like money, going for shopping and spending money. So we are scared of spending too many things on these things. So once this generator is done, we have process of, we call the unwrapping. This I'll show you the screen. This is called an unwrapping, where the texture, the body of this one is split into like, a flat surface. The process called unwrapping. It's a bit technical, unwrapping. And then we take this thing into a software called Substance Painter. Okay, Substance Painter. I'll just show you how the process is. So I'll take a new model, the same model I'll take. Okay, I'll take the same thing. I have it. Okay, and I'll just leave it as default. This is basically meant for Unity 5. Unity 5 is the game engine what we use for making games. Okay, so once I bring this model, what I need to do is I need to texture these things. Texture in the sense like, how the color need to come and all those things. So we have to apply. I just give you an idea about how the texture is done. For example, if you want to give a metal shader to it, entire thing, you can see how it is going to come. You can see the entire thing turned very metallic. Now specific area, if you want to do, there are different processes for doing it. It can go. So it is again part by part. Again, time consuming, not time consuming one. It takes some time for us to decide where the color need to come. I'll just show you the end product also, how the texture need to be done. And finally, once the texture is, for example, I just can give a plastic to it, plastic effect, whatever you want to decide on it, you can just give it. So a lot of stuff happening here with the textures. I can give specific texture for specific area as well. So it is not necessary that you have to give it for the entire thing. You can give it for specific areas. So that is also done. You can have it for specific areas as well. So yeah, as I said, these are the process of texturing. This is a software which is like immensely used for texturing in gaming industry, high standard. Earlier we used to have Photoshop, which was like, very tiresome in sense like, we had to draw each and every detail on it. Now softwares have come high-end softwares, because software keeps going and coming. So this one is a high standard software which is used, which costs, I think, $2,000 per every year, I think. It's a subscription. Most of the softwares are on subscription basis. It comes like that. So we do it. Ultimately, we take these things after exporting this texture, whatever we had, we take it to the game engine. Okay. Now in game engine, I'll just show you how the things are. Let me open the game software. Okay, I'm using a software called Unity 3D. This is one of the game engines what we use. We have two game softwares what we work on. One is called Unity. Another one is Unreal. Two different things. So Unity is something what we use extensively for AR, VR, then a lot of things. So I just search for. Okay, the same thing what I have done. The same thing with realism. If you see this model here, just wanted to show you what makes it special. Now, if I had to make this holes and this one, I would have taken a lot of polygon. This is a face you can see here. If I had to make a hole in this, I have to cut this area, cut this area, cut this area. I have to do a lot of stuff in this. But instead, I use this particular software, this Substance Painter software, to create certain maps. Maps in sense, I'll just show you in this one, to create different varieties, different functions for it, and then ultimately create this kind of thing. Now you can see it is not a whole asset. It's just a fake one. So I'll just show you how the thing works. This is a scene and this is a texture. I just take away the textures as such. I just put it none. Just none. Okay, so basically I will even take this part also. I don't require this metallic fill. No textures. So no textures as such. So this is the same thing what we took in. Okay, one more pending here. This is occlusion. We just remove it. Okay, this is just a model here. So what we do is select this thing. And these are the maps which we created in this particular software. Taking time, we have to take time and do it. Assign each and everything as a texture. In certain cases, these textures are done in 2D textures are done in Photoshop. But mostly we can have it here itself. This particular software gives us a flexibility in doing it. So once this is done, the textures are imported in the software. We just need to drag these things. We just need to drag it, the texture. The base color is assigned. Now you can see base color is giving some sort of feel of it. The shiny part and all is not there. It is just a plain, non-shiny kind of stuff. So if it is a smoked one, we would just go with it. We would just go with it with something like an ambient occlusion. These are certain technical terms to give that depth and just for the depth feel. And all. If it's a like old house or something, old presentation or something we want to do, we would go with this. But if you want to give some sort of detail with the metallic effect and all, we just drag and drop this metallic effect. This is also done. This is also particular software. There's something called a normal map. Normal map is something you can see, have a look at this part, how this changes entirely. This normal map will decide where do you want to, now see this thing, where do you want the dent to come without cutting or without using the 3D software. We are just using this dent. The depth of the dent is also decided how close you want and how smooth you want. Negative factor, the positive factor. So a lot of steps going with this one, a lot of activities with this. So roughness is also there. In case I want to give some sort of roughness for the DP mask or something, we just assign it. And we get stuff like this. So this is one sort of asset what we can create with this workflow from the 3D software, the texturing software, and the integration software. Here, after making this, suppose this is the game environment we want to export it. This is where we decide on. As I said, you said I was talking about the platform where you want to decide where you want it. You can make it for a PC game and WebGL, iOS platform, tvOS. This is for Apple TV kind of thing. For Windows, mobile applications. For Facebook, PS4, a lot. It gives immense flexibility for every part of it. So once you make it, the process of making is same. So we don't have different department for making for Android game, iOS game. Games are games. Once you do it, the end product is decided over here. The texture layout and all. So we make textures specifically for Android, specifically for iOS, for WebGL. WebGL is more of interactive web. I can give an example of Lenskart. I hope you are all seen that site where you just need to scan your face and then the specs comes in between. So that is a software we using the WebGL kind of application which is here. So a lot of simulators are there which can work with this. And just some more examples with how our game goes with it. So this is just one side of it. And the other stuff which I can show you is, okay, I'll just show you one environment which is done in a game. It would take some time to load because
Mr. Dharan,
yeah.
How long will it take for a novice to learn this?
To learn this particular software?
Yes.
For
a novice.
You're talking about the gaming software?
Yes, the gaming software as well as Maya.
Maya
from the scratch. Yeah, somebody who would like to learn from the scratch.
Maya, see, Maya software is like, when I was teaching in CMR University in Bangalore, we had the course was somewhere like, 3 months. 3 months you can learn the basics of it. You can't learn as a Maya is an extensive software. Depends on what you actually specialize. You can see well over here. Is it a modeling software, rigging application, animation for doing effects? So a lot of things are there, but a basic level you can learn in 3 months if you're sitting. And a lot of resources are there for Autodesk YouTube channel itself. They give you lots of flexibility for learning. Easy one, basic one you can get it. And once you have the basic push, you can do whatever you want. It's easy as it.
Are there any open source tools?
My Autodesk is a free version for students. You can just download it for free for 3 years, and then after 3 years you can again use it for free.
Okay, thank you.
You can use it for commercial thing. You can't make an output out of it. Okay. I mean, render for commercial thing, but for students it is free. You just need to go to the site, use your student login ID, and then download it. It's free, absolutely free.
Thank you.
Autodesk Maya. And Unity is also free. This is a free software. Unity is most of the gaming software. Unity, Unreal, all these things are free. So you don't need to, especially cost would be for this Substance Painter. You might have to buy, but if you don't have Substance Painter, you can go with Photoshop. But better, there are different ways of getting. But again, open source softwares are even available for instead of Photoshop, you have other applications. Inkscape, there are a lot of things, for Illustrator files and all. There are a lot of applications which work similar to Photoshop. It works similar. A lot of resources are also available in internet, so it will become easy for you to understand. It is easy. So Unity is something which it's an integration software, as I show you. See here, I have to put the light, the 3D model. You can see here the wooden texture, the dent on it, the shadow, the light fall, all these things. This is something which is how the thing look like as I make, how it looks like in the game engine. So texturing is not done as such. So there are things like the metal things and all. This is like a Western Village concept, West Village, that cowboy kind of storyline. This is something there. I just want to show you some more stuff with this. This is a simple application which is done for, I'll just show you. This is for an interactive thing. We want to, this is what interactive purchase. For example, you want to purchase a t-shirt where you can change the shirt color, textures, whatever you want. There are different kinds of materials, and this is one application which is going on. As I said, game is not only gaming application, not only for playing games, it is for a variety of use, variety of IT solutions, like, interactive purchase. You want to see how it looks like. For example, you want to assemble your TV stand. You have a TV which is, for, let's say, 43 inches TV, and you want to design your own stand. You can go to a website, assemble your own a TV stand, and then give a purchase order. It will send you all those things with a particular dimension, with all the nails. You can just bring it and then assemble in your house. Those things and all is a future concept which is coming, which is already there in our most of our. We have few clients who are using it. I'll just show you one example of it. So a lot of stuff is happening. So this is one. Yeah, so these are certain things which are happening with, in case you have any doubt, you can just ask me now.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
In game engine, do we have to observe the mesh flow?
Of course, we have to see. As such, you see here, it is looking like a very high polygon, high detail thing. It is actually a low polygon thing. So we have to make it look like a high poly, but it's actually a low poly. So mesh flow is very important to know.
Not for characters, sir, objects.
Objects, yes, of course we have to. You see the mesh flow. I'll just show you the mesh flow. The meshes are. You cannot have it because it becomes a challenge for a texturing artist. This texturing artist will find it very challenging. If you
Yes, sir. For UV unwrapping, it will be much more difficult if mesh edge flow is not particular.
See, unwrapping is done when we see unwrapping is usually done across the boundary. For example, I'm not concerned about this line is here, it is cutting across. I'm not even concerned. I'm just cutting this particular area. You get my point? Only the boundary.
Okay, sir.
It actually doesn't matter to me whether this is actually too many points are here. It doesn't actually matter to me. I'm concerned with the area which I want to separate. So in that case, if you think in that aspect, texturing becomes, the unwrapping process become easy. I can unwrap anything.
Okay, sir.
But how neat your mesh looks like, the flow, it's of least concern. But least concern in sense, the mesh is in this way because it is trying to restrict the number of mesh flow and give detail.
Okay, sir.
Don't have this line, it would look something different. If I don't have this line, it would
It will be n-gon, sir, and n-gon will be make problems.
Yeah, see, there is one, let's say an n-gon kind of thing. Let's say this particular thing is a pentagon. But then what if I pointed everything to the center? Would have taken too many tries and polygons here. But it is just restricting it in a way that it is lesser. But again, I want to show you one thing. If you see this pipe, what is the easy way I can make it? This is the only way I can do. Only thing I can do is like, have lesser line so that you can see there's a bend, sharp bend. But in a long look, it would look like I'll just show you again. It would look like a wire. See, it is looking like a wire, but as you go closer, you can see it is like, some sort of breaking things, it's like that. It doesn't matter. And nobody's even looking into the detail of it, so just readable thing, that's it. Basic level, you don't require too high detail in that. Too high detail, you can't, the purpose is different. If you have to do it, you have to do it as a 3D software, not as a gaming thing. So gaming has its own restriction of having low poly thing and all. Now, as you asked, the mesh flow is of least concern. I'm concerned about how the boundary I can cut it. So actually, it doesn't matter where the mesh flow, whether there's a try, neatness, absolutely none. Because if you start having smooth workflow, then you're probably, this would end up, try would end up with something like a 15K poly count. that will be a bit heavy for me. But if I can get the same thing, because if you see the end result, it is not even showing me any sort of problem. It doesn't even matter how the meshes are. Absolutely none. I don't have any problem looking at it. Only thing concern is how I cut these things now.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else you have to ask or something? I think I've given you a brief description about how the workflow happens. Okay, one more thing I just want to show you where and all we actually apply this game. Okay, so many who have ambitions of becoming a AAA game artist, like, you know, an NFS kind of thing, Far Cry kind of thing, you can go with an NFS, AAA games concept. AR, VR is an IT solution providing, as I told you, like, you know, simulators, like, you know, assembling things, those things and all. Then you have medical simulator. Medical simulator, let me show if I have a soft, I have a project with me, medical simulator. Okay, it is opening. By the time it opens, I'll show you. So it will open up. So medical simulator is one. Then we have specifically for game UX UI designing. Now this is one specific area where people are recruiting. For example, in Baiju, White Hat Junior, this kind of company, where like, you know, interactive learning is done through only through UX UI. People are acting and then they show the graph, and which is more of interactive thing is done through UX UI. One company which is recruiting heavily on things are Baiju, and most of the learning app companies are looking at it. WebGL is an extensively used application, extensively used. Many people are using it. Then comes the security apps. Security apps in sense like, you know, security sense, like, you know, fire training for how to use a simulator. So those things are again done. And one beautiful thing which has come in a recent year is movies. If you've seen the latest version of Spider-Man, the movie was done, the entire environment was done in a software called Unreal. Unreal is one beautiful game software again, and it is again free. So if you see, it's all free for us, you know, whatever we make, it's all free for learning purposes. In production, it's a different thing. For game, it's all free. Unreal Game Engine is free. So you can make free games and you can even sell it. It is absolutely fine if you want to sell it also. Movie environment is one thing which is done, which is closely catching up now. Now, if you see the latest version of movies which are releasing these days are heavy on environment. Most of the period movies are coming these days, you know, so those things are again relying on this kind of application. So a lot of resources are required for the things. So yeah, just show you this game. I just want to show you this environment as such, you know, just wanted to show you the simulator. Just wanted to show you an application of this one. This is one game which is done. This is just a dummy one. I don't want to show the actual video. That's a company thing. This is a version of it. A simulator. This is a training on a prenatal care, how a delivery is done, and how to like you know, the rescue of the baby in under 2 minutes training. So how to do that process, cutting the umbilical cord, and then there are a lot of applications in this. So this is one areas which people look for. Like, well, there are lots of fire training. I'll just show you one more, and then fire training is one.
Sir,
Yeah.
how much time it takes to understand the project and make a plan for it and then concept?
Usually when it comes to an IT, it is very short. Usually we get a briefing in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. When we are working on AR, VR kind of project, when we are working on this thing, the planning things and all. We don't need to actually worry on the planning project thing and all. This is done through the vendor and this solution provider. That is our marketing goes with this. But when it comes to us, we have to think about this part. In our company, when we work on it, we get a very short time on it, hardly 2 weeks to work. So this our usual work starts from January when we put into, because December is more like our US holidays. We work in a US company, so we get a lot of time to research ourselves and then come back with this. So two to 3 weeks is what we get for doing the pre-production part, planning. So it is like a non-stop process. Sometimes we have to work for 18 hours, even 20 hours a day for planning our things and all. So when the production starts, it is easy. It's like, relax and do it. We don't have much pressure because we have already done it in a pre-production level. So it's like that. It's not throughout the thing, but initial stage would be a challenge because it's very interesting also. It's not something like a boring. Every look for it.
Means it's for its starting, means for first project it'll take time for planning, because the problem what we are facing at the mid of the production, sir, we don't know, right, sir?
No, it is all defined in our part. When you are making a game, nothing is changed. As I told you, once you are making this pre-production, our game design document is ready. We actually know what to do. For example, when you play cricket, when a ball comes, you know what to do. You know to hit it, right? Same thing again. When you are given a task, you know what to do. When you are given a character, we know to make the character. When we are given a model like this one, a reference like this, we know what to model it. There is no change in between. We don't change any concept in between. So absolutely no problem with any of the process in between. We never get confused. In a production talking about, absolutely no. Because in a production, people come and go. Like, there are people who quit, there are people who come, again come. So it's a cyclic process. So it is never ending thing. So the work goes in a very smooth way. Absolutely not. If you are doing it as an individual person, yes, it would come because you are doing it from your thought. Things would be.
I'm talking about that individual thing, sir.
Individual, you might find a lot of challenges. That can come. That is true. But generally, no. Generally, it doesn't come. In a production, it doesn't come at all. Because we have a specific timeline. Every day we have to know what we are doing. Are we fixing? Because there's a timeline. There's a calendar given to us. We are seeing whether we are meeting the deadline or not. If we don't meet the deadline, we have another Saturday or Sunday to fix up and then go with it. But usually timelines are very, as I said, the production is much more relaxing kind of thing. So absolutely fine if you want to take off, break, things like that. But as I said, it's very interesting field. We actually look for every Monday morning. It's a very excitement thing. 6 o'clock we start our thing, briefing is done, and then go with our work. And at 8:30 we have a client meet, usually US timing morning, and we go with it. So it's not difficult as such. It's an easy process. Once you know the process ready, it is all easy. It is not difficult at all. So these are different applications what people look for. Not only game, everything, every part of it. It's immense. As it goes, this thing are another 15 years, you can be assured of whatever. I don't know anybody who studied this and then sitting idle at home. At least at home, if you sit, you can make money. Money in sense you can make a game and sell. I know many students are doing it. There are many people who do it. Okay, so is there anything? I see some chat box. Okay, so is there anything? Every tool is there, but you need to have it.
Sir, if I want to make this is my career, this part, sir.
Yeah.
Then where I should approach, means because in our aspect, sir, there is less as much. There are learning part is less, sir. If I want to learn and grow, sir, where I have to reach?
What course are you
in AR/VR, sir? In AR/VR, sir.
AR/VR, what? Okay. See, first thing is that you should have a lot of resources. Resources in sense I don't know whether you're aware of something called a game jam.
No, sir.
Game jam. Okay, game jam you're not aware of. Okay. See, there are lots of WhatsApp group for, I think there is state-wise WhatsApp group for Unity and other game engines and all. They would publish event like game jam and also you get to meet lots of people who are like-minded in working on AR, VR, You can build up your team. You can have your own peer connection with that. So you actually know where you actually stand on it. So you can interact with them, because Game Jam is an event which is organized, I think, India level you have 2 events or 3 events, I'm not sure about. World level you have another event, and everything has there's a reward for every thing. And most of the companies recruit from this event. Because I know, because I've been a judge for 2-3 events and all, but I've seen it. I've seen people getting recruited from this kind of event just by participating, just by showing your concept. I think last one was last month. I think there was one event as a Game Jam where I think toured overnight. I think 24 hours. I think not 24, 72 hours for making a game.
Means they will make their own model and they'll create 3D
Yes,
model and
you will be given.
everything.
Yeah,
sir?
you will be given. You can't make your own game. They will give you a concept.
Okay.
They'll give you a concept just an hour before you will be given. You can have your team, and then I think 3 or 4. Last time it was like 4 members in the team, and then you can make a game.
Sir, it's called Gym Jam, sir.
Huh?
It's what's the competition?
It's called
name, sir?
Game Jam. I'll just type it for you. It's called Game Jam. Game Jam. Game Jam is some event which happens quite often in India, where AR, VR games are there, many things. And you can showcase your work. You can have your own team working on it. Give a lot of exposure. First thing, have an exposure to it. And I understand that one of your in Orissa there was an event for the skill development thing, and then I think from your state the person won the first. I think I'm not sure about.
It's in the,
I remember
it was me, sir.
2018. Huh?
It was me, sir. Odisha Skill Development 3D game. I was
Oh,
selected.
3D game art. Okay, I think the person who evaluated was my friend.
Actually, it's Pradeep, sir.
Yeah.
Which evaluated the concept, sir. I was
From
there in
Lakshya.
participating. Yes, sir. Lakshya Digital.
Lakshya. So I know those people. So they told me I was okay. I didn't know your name. Okay, good. Okay, nice talking to you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other
It's my privilege
student?
again.
Yeah. Any other student who'd like to ask anything or any faculty,
Sir.
School of Management, School of Media and Communication or EduTech?
I stop sharing so that I can see the screen. Yeah.
Sir, I have 3 questions. Yes.
Arpit. Yeah.
Do you work with Unreal Engine?
I do work with Unreal Engine. The thing is that I opened Unreal Engine while we were just before this one, because streaming is actually difficult while we do a presentation, because it is heavy environment, heavy on it, so it will crash at any point of time. I usually work on Unreal Engine when it is not AR VR. For entire environment, I work on Unreal.
Okay, so previously you talked about the limitations of the poly count for any model.
Yeah.
What about for the game designers for Unreal Engine 5, introduction of nanite technology?
Yeah, it is. They say that they're going to take out this poly count concept, but we actually have no idea. It's all in the the early stage of knowing it. Probably it would work out. The AI is again working out, making much more easier work and all. But as of now, it's on the poly count which works. These are all futures. This poly count will be obsolete.
Okay, so my last question is, I am very interested in learning Unreal Engine for the filmmaking purposes.
Yeah.
So where do I start?
You have a lot of courses in this Unreal site itself. Unreal gives you a lot of courses where it's like, you can have from the basic level to the advanced level. Each and every course is actually certified from their side. You can learn from basic level. Again, I'm telling you, always have scope, learn as if you don't know anything. Start from the basic level of it and then go with the advances. Step by step, you have to take a lead. and it comes easy for you. Unreal site itself give you a lot of potential. If you download Unreal, you have the learning tab on it. You can just take up the basic level of it and then start with the small one and then do it.
Okay. So does environment design in Unreal Engine requires any coding knowledge or not?
There are two aspects of it. One is the coding level. Another one is called the blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, blueprint is one. So those who don't know coding can use the blueprint option. Others will go with the coding option. But again, if you see the scope of it, and there are a lot of demand for Unreal coders. Coders in sense, like I think the last placement what we had was 14 lakhs per annum, I think, for a person who had Unreal coding. So that was one thing. So a lot of scope again. So blueprint is one option, those who don't know coding. But if you know coding, that will be a great challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. I have two questions, sir.
Siddharth. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, like, we are working on a metaverse project, sir, right now, and and like we are connecting from Web 2 to Web 3 kind of blockchain.
Okay.
So we are facing the issue in the, you can say, like, sir, do you know about the MetaMarks? Like, we are like the cool, sir, and so we are facing issue in the connecting from Web 2 to Web 3, sir. Like the whole metaverse, like from the Unity.
Okay. Are you using sort of APIs for it?
Yeah, one API call name is Fused, I think, so. So we have used that thing, but it's not working properly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
some kind.
It's a project specific, so I will have to look into the thing. So right now I won't be able to answer that one. It's a very specific thing, so we'll have to look into that. But usually when API is involved in it, so that will be a challenge.
Yes.
You can have I think there are again same group, you can just contact them. Let me check. If I find, I'll just send this to Maharana, I'll just send it to I just see what I can do with that. I can just see if I can give you some help on it.
Sure, sir. Answer like the one more question I have, sir.
Yeah.
Like we are started right now, and like in the middle, like if anything come, like if the deadline not matches with the project, like, so how to manage those things, because you are working in an industry and you are having experience on that.
Yeah.
So please, sir, guide us on that.
Yeah, see, it is one huge challenge when you work on it and then it is not meeting the challenge is one thing. Now for that we have this, we call the circuit breaker. Breaker is like, it's like when we launch a rocket, there is a path, defined path and the actual path. Defined path is something where the rocket is supposed to go, and the actual path is where the rocket is going. So same thing we have to do for every project. We use that concept. So we know what is supposed to be done at every point of time. So I would suggest you to have something like a QA for checking your, in your project as well as for your future project. Have somebody for QA who can analyze things quite often, and he should find out only mistakes in your. Because what usually happens is that, when you do a personal project or something which is you are very much involved with it. You get so involved with it, you start liking your work. So what happens, you just get deviated away. You should always think in one aspect. Your work is not your work, your client's work. You have to make him satisfied. Okay, so that is, the thing will work fine. Usually as a startup, when you do on your own project, you are satisfied with whatever you do. Somebody says things and you will not correct it. It happens for everybody, even for me when I do it. But we have to start learning a process, like, whatever project we do, we have to make a, imaginary client for whom we are going to deliver it. And we have to think, this is what he wants. Am I meeting his expectation? Every day, every time, check on it. This expectation should match with whatever you had expected, and it goes out smooth. That way. And have one person only for finding mistakes in you. This mother-in-law characters,
Wow.
this kind of thing. It is good. If you have characters like that, you can have finding only mistakes. You should reward him for finding 100 mistakes in your thing and find out which is feasible. Of course, you cannot correct 100 mistakes and all, you can't correct it. But feasible mistakes, you can correct it. Obvious mistakes. All fake things, you can just hide it. Other things and all, you can make it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And sir, please help on the Web3 part, sir.
I'll just see. If I get a resource person, I just send it to Maran. I'll just send the link. I think I should just try out with Orisa some team. I'll just see what I can do with it.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes, I would like to request all the participants to give their feedback. A link is shared. Mr. Dharan, this is a lovely session, lovely and quite an enriching session, and we would like to have you in our upcoming webinars. Someone will contact you. So we'll come up with an agenda and we'll go in a structured manner because one day is not sufficient. It was only an introductory session, and we would like to have hands-on training on some of these softwares. So any other student who would like to come to the screen and share your feedback or your takeaways from this webinar?
Hello.
Yes, Soumyadeep.
Yeah. Sir, I just wanted to know that for being a 3D generalist, I mean, doing modeling, testing, lighting, which are the softwares do we need to know, except Maya, and what these softwares do we need to learn for going to the industry?
Yeah, see, what we generally do is softwares are just a tool for us. So it doesn't actually matter what software we are working on. We work on software like Blender, we work in software called Houdini, 3ds Max. We have every software for that part. So what happens is when we require specific software, we go with that specific software. For example, when we want to do some sort of visual effect for it, we go with Houdini. When we want to do something which is more of calculated architectural thing, we go with 3ds Max. Maya, obviously, for characters and all we take. So it is not software specific, task specific. So what a generalist will do is like, as I told you, modeling, texturing, lighting, animation, rendering, look development, throughout the part. We have to be good at all this part. So we don't specialize in one. I don't call myself an animator. I don't call myself a texturing, lighting artist. I do everything. Everything essentially because we have a team for it. We have close to 70 people working for that particular thing. So when I lead the team, I have to know everything on it. So generalists will usually lead a team of these people who work on different projects. So unless we know what went wrong, we will not be able to suggest what to correct. So that way. So I would suggest you all not to learn a software. Don't learn a software as a tool. For example, if you want to put a nail on a wall, we will not, whatever we have, if it is a nail, we'll use it. Nail is good. I mean, if you have a hammer, we'll use it. Or if you have a hard surface, we'll use it. So it depends on what application you have at that point. But the purpose is met. So that way we have to think. So if you learn a software, you become expert in that software. In our company, when we recruit person, we are not looking for anybody with knowledge on Maya. Instead, we say modeling knowledge, texturing knowledge, lighting knowledge, animation, rigging, those things. And when we recruit them, we'll ask what specific software do you think will help you out? And then we go with it. And most of the companies are like that. So most of the companies will have every software. Blender is one open source software you can work on it. It has immense potential. But the reason why we don't use too much of Blender is because it's an open source software. One thing it's an advantage, but then the other disadvantage is that the disadvantage is that when we get stuck on something, because these are all software, it gets stuck every time. Unreal is, as I said, it's the open source software, but working on it, it crashes 20-30 times a day. Nobody knows about it, but it crashes. Whom to us? We don't have anybody to ask because nobody owns it. It's an open source software. We don't have an option for correcting it. Then we have to search for internet. So if it is an Autodesk software, we have people who are service providers. We ask them, this is a specific problem we face. Either they send us a fix and then we solve it. So when it comes to production, we have to get quick reply because the client are waiting every week to know our progress. So we don't have time to test or do anything. As I said, we have just 2 weeks to decide how to go about the project on a war footing and then do the production. So I would suggest you to learn a concept, learn an entire thing, and I won't say entire thing. Whatever you learn it good, and then get it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Is there anybody who would like to come to the video screen and share your takeaways from this program? Any faculty, any student?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I was saying that how to, if we have any doubts, so can we contact with you for that, further sessions or further anything?
You can contact Maharana for your ma'am anytime. I'll be there. You can fix up a time if you have like collected out. You can just fix up a time. Today was a free time for me, so I could come this time. So just fix up. Just inform your faculty. Based on my availability, I'll be coming accordingly.
Thank you. So we come to an end of this webinar. Saban, I would like to request you to offer a formal vote of thanks.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. To the one and all present here, honorable guest, Mr. Rajesh M. Dharan, and all the participants. It is such an honor for me to get the opportunity to thank you all dignitaries. On behalf of the Department, School of Media and Communication, I extend a warm welcome to the people in the gathering. I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make the webinar a great success. I extend my gratitude to our honorable guest, Mr. Rajesh, to take out time from his busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you for inspiring and encouraging us with your words on this special day. A special thank you to Pragya Madam and EduTech and Skills Tech team for providing immense support to make the webinar successful. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Dharan. We will see you soon.
See you. Yeah.
And yes, I end this webinar here.
Okay, thank you. Bye.